So I recently went out with a friend to grab a bite to eat and hang out afterwards, and whilst driving back to his place, we decided to stop off at a video game store near my home. We looked at games and set a bet to try to find something that was absolutely strange and hardly recognized for a console of our choice. He picked up a couple NES games, and I picked up a PS1 game and went back to my place to play this. Time Commando.
To say the least, this game is really bad. The controls are bad, the plot is bad, the gameplay is bad. Like, it has you going back in time to like save the world or something, but it's just unenjoyable, and the rendered cutscenes are kind of goofy and weird. But in a weird way, that's kind of why I love the PS2 and PS1. Such weird, obscure titles exist on this console that I guess you would not find anyplace else. That is mainly due to developers just trying to see what works on this console at the time, because it was brand new and the world of 3D gaming was brand new.
This era has always been fascinating to me. I was only around at the tail end of it, with being born the same year the PS2 was released. With that being said, I never got to get the full experience of what the console had to offer, since most of my childhood was spent playing the PS3 and Nintendo DS. I did play games like Star Wars Battlefront 2 and Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets on my old backwards compatible PS3, but never got too deep into the catalog of the first two generations. It wasn't until my mid-teens when I got into video game collecting that I decided to start buying for the PS1 and the PS2. In this collecting, I picked up all the games that were considered the best on the console. Games like Crash Bandicoot, Final Fantasy VII, and Metal Gear Solid, which have been fun to get, but if I'm being honest, I'm more proud of the weird titles I own. Because each one I own, there is this weird initial reaction of shock to a certain title existing. This is specifically relevant if you see the game for the first time at the video game store. You are given no choice but to buy the game because you might not find it anywhere else or for the same price online. I mean, have you heard of games like Blasto or Rosco McQueen's Firefighter Extreme? I doubt it. I didn't even know these games existed until I saw them at my local shop. So the question remains, why do I get more enjoyment out of these games than the best regarded games on the console? And I think there are a couple reasons why this is the case. I like these games for the simple reason that the industry of gaming wasn't as well defined as it is today. Most of the ideas from these small studios were products that were strange and out there because they needed to make something weird in order to catch the eye of the consumer. By making something left field, there was always this ability of your game gaining a small cult following and thus keeping your studio afloat. And I think this method applies to a lot of indie games nowadays that are put up on Steam, but it feels like for main home consoles that is not the case. We often get the same recycled ideas for games with nothing really experimental being created. This is not to say that there isn't any sense of sameness in older games, because there is, with every single game being a variation of a platformer. Though even with that, in many ways, developers at least tried to push the envelope of how weird they could make these games. It got to the point where we were getting games about chickens who star in their own reality show and need to stop aliens or something from invading. Man, gaming got weird for a while. Though that weirdness was fun, and to say the least, I wish we had a lot of outside-the-box titles nowadays, because sometimes I just want to play something and not have to think about a story or characters. I want to play something that is unique in its own right and weirdly fascinating in another. And I think the era of the PS1 is a testament to this, and that's why I come back to these games. And I think you should too.